Are you sometimes worried that Ghana could fall into the serial mistakes of other African countries that have discovered oil but are yet to make the best use of it?
Let me say for two main reasons. One, because we've been able to learn the examples of other countries. Ghana has found oil at a time when you have the experiences of our brothers in Nigeria, and they've been very generous in sharing their experience with us. We've held several seminars in which experts from Nigeria have come to speak, and they've been very transparent about the mistakes that Nigeria made and how they're correcting those mistakes. And so, as a lesson to us, we cannot fall into the same trap if we learn the lesson that we have got well. We've also learned from countries like Norway that are touted as, having handled this resource the best, and it's helped us to put in the legislation in a more transparent manner that can ensure that this resource becomes a blessing to us. So one, because of the experiences we've had to learn, I don't think that we'll fall into the same pitfall. Aside from that, the next major issue is that when you have a resource like oil, if you have it at a time when you've developed democratic institutions and transparency and a vibrant media that is quick to raise the red flag, and civil society organizations and everybody that is watching how that resource is managed, there's no way you can fall into that same trap. And we have civil society organizations, we have media that are scrutinizing every single cent of this resource, and if there's something going wrong, they'll raise the red flag long before you're able to fall into a case.
So in terms of the oil factor now, what's the level of collaboration between Nigeria and Ghana?
In the period when we're preparing our legislation for Parliament in respect of the oil and gas industry, we held a lot of seminars, and the Nigerian government was very helpful. The Nigerian private sector was very helpful. A lot of resource people came from Nigeria, and so that collaboration exists. Even today, as we are a young oil producer, and we're nowhere near Nigeria, we're producing 110,000 barrels a day, but Nigeria has always stood by us. And I think that history brings our two countries together in a way that we are destined to work together. Nigeria has the most populous population in West Africa, huge market that is very attractive. And I think that Nigeria's population and its role in West Africa gives it a certain leadership that it must take onto itself to drive the whole of the sub-region along. It happens in almost every region. You have a driver. I mean, in Asia, Japan was a driver and helped move the whole of the Asian, the Far East, Southeast Asian economies along. In West Africa, I believe that Nigeria has that potential to drive the whole of the West African sub-region along. And so sometimes we have problems with the fact that Nigeria closes its market to everybody, including the sub-region. We cannot export textiles made into Ghana into Nigeria. There are several commodities we cannot export to Nigeria, which is the biggest market. Nigeria has nothing to fear from Ghana. Ghana is a small economy. Nigeria's economy, in comparison with Ghana's economy, is far larger. And so I think that if Nigeria takes its leadership role and moves the integration project, it will be to the benefit of the whole sub-region. I've been talking to my brother Jonathan about it. We've been engaging.
Now, talking about opening the economy now, that takes us to what happened last year, where there was a serious clampdown on Nigerian traders on medium-scale basis in Ghana, slamming them with a very huge capital base to start off their business. That does not seem to be in line with economic integration that African leaders are talking about.
It's something to do with the regulations that we have in Ghana about there are various things involved in that. It has to do with investment. It restricts a market to indigenous people. And so it says that to be able to sell in a market, you must be a Ghanaian citizen. It does not allow other people, to sell in a market. So one of the questions that came up is, what is a market? If a group of people go and sit somewhere and start selling, and it becomes a place where people go and buy, is it a market? So we are looking at all that legislation. It's from the It's from several decades back. And so we have a new, what we call Ghana Investment Promotion Center Act, which will be the replacer act for the previous one, to try and cater for those misdescriptions and other issues. In which areas do Ghanaians have the sole prerogative to do business? In which areas do other people have the prerogative? What are the qualifications for doing that and all that? And I think that if that new legislation passes, it will make things clearer than they have been